Hey there, dog. Guess who's coming to hang out for the weekend? Oh, I don't know. Are they friendly? Do we get to go on a road trip together? No and no. Because this weekend, we're hanging with Typhoon Yagi. The first arm of the storm hit us early on Friday afternoon. There was lots of rain and traffic was chaos, but none of that's new to anyone who lives here. We still had about 24 hours until the main storm was set to hit. There were already trees down and emergency vehicles out on the streets. So we had to get home, stock up, and hunker down for the weekend, as it would be at least 2 or 3 days until the storm passed. Once we were back, we stocked up on the essentials. Mostly Indomie instant noodles because they're simply the best, and I'm sorry how there's just no contest. As the real storm started coming in, so did the Zalo messages, one after the next, warning people to take shelter. And remember, by Hanoian standards, that is an empty road. You're unlikely to see something like that outside of Tet. It's kinda spooky. At about the same time that the eye of Yagi was over Halong Bay, we started to feel the wind and the rain. And because we decided to be good little citizens and stay home and stay safe, that means that we weren't able to get a whole lot of footage of the actual storm for you. And that at about 6:30, it got real dark real fast. As our building is protected on the west, and as you can see, the storm is spinning counterclockwise, the north side of our building got absolutely pummeled. Water was just pouring into the studio. We had a light drizzle going on in one of the bedrooms. Even on this high of a floor, we just could not keep the water out. Now, we were too busy bailing water and trying in vain to keep things dry to get any more video. But it was right around this time, as the storm was closest to us, the wind was the craziest, that everything just kinda stopped. As soon as the sun was up, we hopped on the bike to do a little bit of reconnaissance. Immediately upon exiting our garage, the road was already blocked by downed trees, so we would not be going that way. All of this so far is within less than a block of our apartment. See all these downed trees? These used to be the best peeing trees in the neighborhood, and they're all gone. Absolutely every street is just lined with branches. But I do want to take this moment to try and highlight something a little bit more positive. While Haiphong was getting hit, they did get their power cut. But over the entirety of the night, our lights didn't so much as flicker once the entire time. It's honestly quite the testament to just how robust the, at least Hanoian, electricity grid is. It's honestly sad to have to see such a big, beautiful old tree like that have to get sawed up. Oh, well, alright. Caffeinate and keep going. We do have the rest of the city to check out. Another thing that bears mentioning is that Hanoi as a city is particularly prone to flooding. And yet after that insane downpour last night, almost nothing was underwater. I'm not sure how or why, but it's good to see. Gotta be positive where you can. Now, this is Koze, a real big, real important street that got absolutely hammered. And it just went on like this for kilometers. And while I am aware that it is generally bad, there are some circumstances where it makes sense to do a little bit of urban off-roading. This one is Kim Ma, another extremely important thoroughfare in the city, almost entirely cut off. But hey, look at that, it's VTV. Do you think they need a new dog anchor? Anyway, stupid jokes aside, a thing that does bear mentioning is that despite the carnage around, it's almost all just trees. Very few buildings are damaged, and there's nothing done to the infrastructure. Well, other than being covered in now broken trees. Well, so much for a drive around Huancam Lake. And this here is Dongyate, or literally Church Street, because this is the one that brings us to St. Paul's Cathedral, the famous church in the city. The cathedral itself seems to have made it out just fine, but unfortunately every tree around it did not, including this beautiful old banyan tree, which is a real shame because it was a big part of the entire aesthetic of the place. And that is not gonna grow back anytime soon. We decided to head up to the north of the city to see how they'd fared over there, but we got lost a couple of times because not every street was as easy to drive as normal. There were also more than a few things that slowed us down along the way. To say the least, they are not ideal driving conditions, but being that we're safe and healthy, who are we to complain? Now, the reason that we chose to head up into the north of the city is that they have this real big, real famous, real pretty, and really aptly named lake up there in the north. West Lake, or Tay Ho. Or Ho Tay, whatever, depending who you're talking to, that's not the point. Because the point is that being a lake, it is big and open and wide and flat, as lakes are wont to be. This has led to this district of the city being generally associated with nice cool breezes, and so we decided we needed to check out just how breezy it had been. And, well, as you can see, it had been real breezy. Really, really breezy. We'd been hoping to get all the way around the lake for recon, but that was not looking possible. But what's that over there, you ask? A spot for a quick break and some comfort food. Once the bellies were full, we did a little bit of surveying, and it did not look like we were going to make it through there. So instead, we snuck through the park, which had also taken quite the beating of its own. This then brought us out onto another road, which was also blocked, so we decided to backtrack and make our way around. A little more flooding, but thankfully nothing serious. Now, we're very thankful for having made it out of this with nothing more than a wet floor, But unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody. At the time of recording this, there are 14 confirmed dead just in Vietnam, let alone the rest in the Philippines and in China. And as much as we may all wish that we could pay for medical bills, pay for repairs, and buy food with thoughts and prayers, that's simply not the case. So if you have the means, please consider donating to Help Hanoi's Homeless or any of the other great charities doing work in the city, because not everyone was lucky enough to make it out as unscathed as we were. But with all that said, this is where we're going to leave you. We'll definitely be back next time with some more lighthearted and less depressing content. So until then, stay safe out there, stay dry. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.